What is up, everybody? Jaggy here, and MK Boards is not dead, I promise you guys. We haven't uploaded a video in about 2 weeks or so. I went on vacation for a while, and we didn't have any other content creators to make our videos. WANAP was busy with life, as well as a couple other videos he's working on. And the main content creator for this channel, myself, I was on vacation, obviously. So now that I'm back, I'll be able to provide some more content for you guys for as long as EL is still going on. Once EL ends, we're not going to be able to upload matches, but we'll be uploading a couple other videos, such as an explanation video on MKPS, maybe a couple of tutorial videos as well. We'll consult with WANAP about it. But here's what we have going on for you right now. List of Croatian films versus Regicide, match 2 of Division 3 finals. I'm going to be doing a dual POV where I cast RC British and RC Paul. Unfortunately for List of Croatian films, they didn't have anybody recording or streaming, so I'm going to be doing a double POV of RC. That being said, let's get into the team and player introductions. I feel like Regicide getting second seed is a little deceiving because they actually have beaten List of Croatian films on 3 occasions. 2 in the regular season and 1 in game 1 of the playoffs, and they've also beaten Apocalypse twice and pretty much all the top teams. It's just they failed to show out on a couple of occasions. I know they lost to IS once, they lost to Beyblade I believe as well. So Regicide are a very strong team on their day, but in the regular season they just weren't as consistent as they wanted to be. But it looks to me like they have picked up the pace, beating Apocalypse in the semifinals and taking game 1 against List of Croatian films. So if you're a List of Croatian films, to go 0-3 against Regicide so far, that has to eat away at you. And I don't think they're going to want to lose a 4th time to Regicide, so I would expect List of Croatian films to bring out their best today. And they actually are playing their best possible lineup with Yax, KA, Noah, Nitro, and Maxi. This is absolutely what they needed to bring out. KA and Yax are going to serve as their frontal 2 players. They're actually a very dangerous combination when they get up there. In the previous matches, they have actually broken 100 on several occasions together, while the 2 other runners usually score about 70 or 60, or just providing the backup that they need for KA and Yax, pretty much slagging, working on the mid pack and whatnot. So expect KA and Yax to pop off here, but let's also pay attention to Noah though. Noah is a key player for them as well. If KA and Yax struggle to get up there for whatever reason, or if they lose their top spot, Noah's not a bad player to look at either. He has had a bit of experience in the community, and he can run in this division decently. Nitro 77 will probably serve as their mid-pack player. He has had experience in that role. He has pretty much played that role the entire season. He has been able to run when needed though, whenever K or Yax have not been playing, and Kunai would take Nitro's spot as the mid-pack player. So overall, I do think we have a little bit of stability in this List of Croatian films lineup, something that they have lacked in the previous matches. They haven't thrown out their best lineup throughout the season consistently, but they are definitely a team to look at right now. And on the other end of the coin, we have Regicide, who are also bringing out their best lineup with Ethan, British, Matt, Paul, and Joss. Big thing here, Matt has returned. Regicide have missed out on Matt a little bit. They still play well without him, but Matt is such a key player for them, especially in a stage like this, in a final, match 2 against List of Croatian films, who are also bringing out their best lineup. This is going to be huge for RC. Matt, with the experience that he has and the running prowess that he has, especially for this division, that's going to be very important for Regicide. I do think Matt will be their strongest runner in this scenario, but we also have some pretty good backup here for Regicide. We have British, who has been a very much improved player in terms of running. He has been known to bag and troll in the past, but he has been running quite a bit for Regicide this season, and I think last season as well for a different team, not for Regicide, but he has improved a lot in the running, and I do think that he's going to help out Matt and Paul as well. Actually, Paul is a decent runner too. He's not too bad lines wise. His lines are good enough to keep himself in the top spots. I think what plagues him though is every so often he does make a mistake, like whether he hits a wall in first or he is a little too adamant about getting first. Like let's just say he's in second. Sometimes he throws away his protection trying to get first out. That actually, his aggressiveness though is also part of his strength. Paul, whenever he's in those one-on-one situations, when he's contesting for first, he's a force to be reckoned with. We saw that against Apocalypse in the semifinals, and even against Apocalypse in the regular season in, I believe, week 7, he put Sonder in his back pocket. Anytime him and Sonder were contesting for first, Paul would get a snipe on Sonder when he was in second, or would get a back spam on Sonder when he was in first. So if you're a list of Croatian films, I do think Paul being in the front is a huge warning sign for them. I do think they should target Paul. And then Ethan slotting in for RC as well. He hasn't played for RC too often this season, but when he has played well. So RC are also very strong here. In terms of the bagging battle, we have Joss against Maxi, 2 experienced baggers. They are putting Joss in the bagging department, which is not a horrible idea either, because Joss is experienced in bagging. He has bagged for Moonblast in the past quite often. He's been playing since Season 8 of WL, running and bagging pretty much evenly distributed. And he's going up against Maxi, who has started, I believe, in Season 9 or Season 10 of WL, so his start point is not as early as Joss, but Maxi has been more of a bagger in terms of the role. He has bagged more often than Joss. Like, Maxi bags about 80% of the time, Joss bags about 50% of the time. But both equally experienced baggers in terms of actual play time. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens between those 2 baggers. Who's going to get luckier as well? That's another big question. So, very evenly matched sides here. That being said, we're going to be casting British and Paul's POVs. And here we go. Starting off in the first race, Yoshi Falls comes out here, a list of Croatian films staple. They do have KA and Yax in top 2 right now, but RC are occupying 3, 4, 5. This definitely does favor L though, because Yax and KA love running this track, and them starting in top 2, that's a little dangerous if you're RC. So we do see right away Paul going wide, so this can favor Paul if he pulls the shrooms, and he does. He does chain them right away for a star, which is, yeah, chaining those shrooms, I guess, in that scenario is not a horrible idea if RC are also in top spots along with L. But I think Yax and K are still running this in top 2. Yeah, they are. Red comes out from British, doesn't connect, it hits the wall going tight. In terms of the bagging battle, I'm not sure who's winning just yet. I couldn't see the name. A shock here would definitely favor RC. It'll definitely change the race around. A shock for L would just make it so that they'll run the rest of the race in top spots. Matt passes a TC off to Paul, so Paul's forced to use the star here. Is a shock going to be coming out? We do see Ethan losing a top spot, I believe from a backspam. I'm not sure what happened there. Doesn't look to me like Joss has the shock. It looks to me like LR top 2. They are going to run away with this. KA and Yax, again, like I said, very good at running this track. They didn't lose their top spots. Good work from L. It looks to me like they might get like a +7 or +9 race out of this. Yeah, Yoshi Falls is a little hard to commentate with dual POV because it's such a short track and a lot goes on in it. And yeah, just bear with me in the future. I might miss 1 or 2 things with the dual casting, but I'll see what I can do. So yeah, top 2 coming out from L. Not too much help in the not too much help from the rest of the squad though, but it's still going to be a good race for L. They got 9th in that scenario, so it's going to be a +5 race for them. Kupa Cape coming out from L, which is actually a very good track pick because they are starting in top 2 again. Top 2 can run and bottom 2 can get goldens and whatnot. Casey is a track in which you can catch up in if you pull a golden or shrooms right off the bat, and you can take the double grass cut. After that though, it's hard to catch up. Once you get up to the top spots, it's really easy to establish those top spots by back spamming and basically running effectively, but GV does come out here. I did say that Yoshi Falls was an L staple. This is an RC staple. Usually when RC play this, they end up winning the race no matter what. They're very consistent at rock. And obviously at this level, D3, I think maybe 70 to 80% of the players in the division are consistent at rock, but all of RC are consistent here. And we do see Yax backing that Nana, almost gets sniped from British there. Could he get this fib off? No, doesn't connect on Yax. We do see triple shrooms from Paul here. He's going to be able to take the rock with 2 shrooms, yeah, to back him up. Kind of takes it a little oddly. I would have liked to seen him take the left path there because he didn't get the proper hop to go to the right side. So he lost more speed by going on the dirt and going on the right path, but still 2 shrooms here. We do see triple reds coming out from British. Interesting exchange between him and KA. KA isn't able to pass the TC off there. And a third place mega here for British definitely can favor him. Bagging battle, it looks to me like I think Maxi's winning out right now. We are going to see Paul going for the rock again and makes it again. This time he makes it more cleanly. Doesn't hit the off-road, so he's going to have a huge break with the shroom in first as well to dodge the blue. Very good work from Paul. It looks to me like Noah's occupying second, but not too much backup. Top three are starting to break away a little bit. We do see Yax in fourth, but it's going to be very hard for Yax to catch up to Paul. I mean, British. It does get bumped by the bagger, though, so he is going to lose a little bit of speed. Interesting to see what happens with the shock here. RC are in a very good spot, though, because British can use the mega to predict the shock. He's going to get third pretty much no matter what here. It looks to me like... Okay, is the shock going to come early here to TS? L, no. RC do not have the shock then. L are probably going to shock late, probably shocking British after boxes. Is that going to be the case? Yes, that is a shock coming in from L. We do see Noah overtaking second, KA overtaking third, so 2-3 coming out from L, as well as 5-6, so not a bad shock for L there. Did change the race around a little bit. It was very good work from Paul to make rock twice and secure first there, but I would like to have seen British use that mega a little later as L were taking the cut there. I do think his mega was a little early there. I just don't think if you're L there shocking before the cut would be beneficial anyway. So 2-3, 5-6 coming out from L there. So good response. And looks to me like L are still holding down the lead here. Okay, so there was a disconnection. So the room ended up getting reset. So here we are, a fresh new GP. We do see L occupying 1-4, RC 2-3. So spots aren't really too favorable for either team unless you want to pick TF if you're L, because starting off in 1-4, fourth can draft first, but usually you want to save TF for if you're top 2-4 or 1-3-4 rather than just 1-4. It can be easy to break top spots if you're in 2-3-5. DKS does come out from RC. Let's see how well KA can lock down this first. Trailing that Nana, he could potentially slow on British. We do see triple reds coming out from Paul. Looks to me like it'll connect on Noah. I think British just shroomed up there, overtaking first. Paul getting a red off as well. Top three early on for RC. Paul backing that red. It looks to me like Ethan fell off there. I think he failed double in that instance. Still top two coming out from RC. This is going to be very important. I did mention that Paul is very good at keeping his top spots. So we'll see what kind of back spams Paul can get off on Yax potentially here, but looks to me like Matt is occupying third. He could probably get a back spam or two off on Yax as well. In terms of the bagging battle, one of the baggers just made the backwards strat. We'll pay attention to see who that is in just a second. L do need the shock here though, and there is a blue coming in on British. Not able to dodge it. Yeah, I thought he dodged it at first. A little bit of lag, and a combo red on British too from Yax. Yax opts not to take the double though, so playing it safe. I still think he should have gone for it in the end because RC still occupying top spots. That is Paul in first, Matt in second. Let's see what kind of backspam Matt can get off here potentially on this blind corner. Doesn't connect on anybody. British coming up with shrooms, opts to chain. Not a bad idea though. Maybe he could get some schlagging items. He does pull triple shrooms for it though. I do think he can avoid this red if he high tricks here and then shrooms up to the sand quickly. Opts to try to break it on the right side and doesn't do so though. Still top two for RC though. We're gonna have to see L going for the double here. Yax again doesn't take it. We do see British hitting a random green as well as Ethan though, so not a good ending. And a late shot coming in from L, dodging Nitro, and who else is that back there? Looks to me like Ethan dodged as well, so Ethan coming back up. Yeah, we do see KA getting last there though. He did lose that on first in the first 10 seconds of the race from getting redded, and I guess he just wasn't able to come back. Overall though, L didn't really take very many risks there because RC were in top spots virtually the whole race. I didn't see any double blockage besides some back spams. I think the only real things that I saw from the cut were back greens and back reds. There weren't any nanas or fibs or anything. but still a 145 for L. That shock definitely changed the race around. Sherbet Land does come out from RC Ethan. I mean, I personally love this track. I think it's the best track in the game. It's a love-hate track. I mean, it's very situational with items. You can actually easily catch up in this track because there is an off-road stat that pretty much gets nullified whenever you're shrooming or in a star or mega. So you actually can catch up quite a bit in this track if you pull the right items. And dodging in this track is completely overpowered as a result. Do you see a couple of greens connecting on both Ethan and British there? Looks to me like, who's occupying first right now? Greens come out. That's Yak's occupying first. It looks to me like Nitro might have hit the wall there trying to avoid one of the greens. Back green comes out from Yak's, doesn't connect. Again, another one coming out from Yak's. Yak's has been very aggressive with his back spam so far this war, but none of his back spams have been connecting. This could be bad if Matt has a red. Doesn't look to me like that's the case. Yak's going to still run away with first. Red comes out from British onto Nitro, and is Yak still... No, actually, yeah, it does fall behind. I think there might have been a draft coming in from Matt, bumping Yaks in the process. So RC occupying top 2 now. I'll pay attention to the backers in a second. Snipe attempt comes out from Yaks, doesn't come off. Good work there from Paul, avoiding 2 reds. One fell in the crack, and another he went really tight on the wall, and the red just broke on the wall. So good work there from Paul, avoiding the reds. That was actually a key play there, because RC are only top 3 and L are everything behind. Looks to me like Paul gets past a TC from Noah though. The TC is another item in which the off-road stat does come into play, and you can catch up there easily. Red coming out from KA there. Matt still occupying first. And we do see Paul hitting a penguin there, which is not, I guess not, never mind, it was Ethan passing him up. So I was going to say if L were in 7th, it wouldn't have been horrible because he could cheese a dodge here, but he does pull a dodge anyway. We do see a shock coming in. Not sure whose that was, to be honest with you. I'll get a confirmation after the race. I'll look at the minimap. Do see a back green coming out on Noah, though. Looks to me like Yaks is the only top spot. He hits a wall, so this is not good. This could be RC top 3 here. We do see Ethan shrooming up. That's not good if you're Yaks. Well, Ethan would have gone second anyway, but that is not good if you're Yaks right there. It's going to be a top 4 from RC as a result. Yeah, it's just that sort of mistake at this stage is not. I'm not trying to criticize Yaks or anything. I'm just saying a mistake like that at this stage, at this sort of with the stakes this high, the final, that can mean the difference between a win or loss in the end. And a top 4 for RC here is huge. A top 4-9 as well, so perfect race. So I can confirm that wasn't RC shock because it did dodge Ethan as well. The shock came a little late from RC's end because Ethan used the star, and then the shock came about a second and a half after he used the star. So Ethan used his star, and then Paul uses star about a second later, right as Nitro uses Mega. Nitro uses Mega to predict the shock because he saw Ethan in a star, so that's how Nitro was able to dodge. But he lost his top spot as well as Noah, so it's just very, very important for RC to get that shock. And again, like I said, Yaks did hit the wall there, preventing him from getting third. It would have been a top 2-4-5 without that. L are gonna have to bounce back after that. They can't let their heads go down. They can't let that deter them. BC Wee comes out though. L are in trouble. This is a track you can run in, and the first 10 seconds of the race matter so much, like what items you pull, how well you're able to keep your top spots. If you're L, you're just gonna have to spam whatever items you get. Triple greens, shrooms, just spam them just to try to get the top spots out, or just to try to get yourself in that top spot area. And that's what we see Noah do. He shrooms up early, able to overtake some of the top spots without getting wheelie bumped. He does overtake British. Interesting bump there. We do see Kaya come up too, so yeah, unlucky for British. He got bumped there and then wasn't able to realign. Paul going for the glitch there. Doesn't really have the proper alignment there. Forced to use all of his shrooms actually. Yeah, he had to shroom up to avoid Noah with the TC, and I think Noah wasn't able to pass that anyway. Blue does come in on K. Is he going to get a back green here? Paul opts not to try to back green combo him. But that blue was pretty important. We still see first coming out from KA. 2-3 coming out for RC. Not sure who's green that connected from Paul. We do see a mega from British. Oh, that POW was really detrimental to Paul. Hindsight's 20/20, obviously, but in the end there, you should just try to slow down before the ramp. You'll lose a little bit of time, obviously, but not that much time, as you won't fall off the track. Here's a blue. Yeah, blue coming out from Paul there is going to be connecting on Yak's. Back green comes out from Noah. Doesn't connect. That's a decent spot to back it, but British able to avoid it well. Yak's getting hit with a red or a green right after the blue. He was still able to run it a little bit, but ooh, those fibs are sketchy. But RC, I think Ethan might have seen them, or he maybe backed one of them and called them out early so that Matt or British wouldn't have hit it. Nobody, doesn't look to me like any of L connect on it either, though. Top 3 from RC. It looks to me, I'm not sure what happened there, actually. We did see Noah losing, or whoever that was from RC, not Noah. Blue comes out. There was a blue cancel from RC, canceling the blue on Matt and dodging 2 people from RC. Yeah, it was a good idea to cancel. Another blue comes in, though. So blues galore here. Looks to me like it was 1 blue from... Actually, 2 blues early on from RC, and then 2 blues coming in from L towards the end of the race here. Mixed spots, I'm not sure who got what there. It was very chaotic. But L with a second blue after that shock was detrimental to RC. Mushroom Gorge coming out. Another track pick from Ethan. Ethan's getting quite the track picks right now. This is good for RC, though. RC love this track, and every time you play RC, this track will be picked no matter what. It's inevitable, and we'll see how L can deal with this. This is a track which is very tricky. If you have shock, it can actually work against you, though, because if you have the shock and the other team are top spots, you're gonna have to go for an early TS on the second set of mushrooms, and sometimes it can backfire. Sometimes you won't even get any TSs off, and maybe the other team will predict the TS in a mega. It's a pretty obvious TS area, so we'll see what happens in terms of the shock. Shrooms are probably the most important item here, just to catch up, and we do see a shroom from Paul here. None of L have shrooms in top 2. Paul almost fails it. Recovers decently, though. We'll see how much of a factor that will play in, because he's now in sniping range. Yax could potentially get a snipe off here in the next 10 seconds or so. But Yax goes the left path, maybe to avoid a backspam that Paul would have thrown out on the green mushroom. TC coming out from British. It looks to me like, okay, blue comes in. Luckily for Paul, it doesn't get him off the track. One of the baggers have shock. I'm gonna pay attention to see who it is in a second. We do see Matt chaining a star there. RC are occupying bottom 3. Nobody with shrooms, though. So this is looking very good for L. Looks to me like L are top 3. And if I were to guess, I'm gonna pay attention to the baggers. Looks to me like one of the baggers loses the shock there, actually. I believe it was Joss hitting Maxi with the star there. Very good work from Joss. Maybe he could potentially pull a late shock here, but it's going to be too late anyway. I don't see... Well, Ethan does come up with the shroom, so he's able to get up to the front there, but still going to be a very good race from L. Yeah, I can confirm that that was Joss starring Maxi there, starting the shock out of Maxi, but in the end, it didn't matter because L were already top 3 broken away, and Joss would have had to pull a shock right away and pretty much spam it. And I don't think RC had any dodges in that scenario. So, yeah, it's a 1-3-4 coming out from L. Ethan securing that important second place. It would have been a top 3 without Ethan taking the gap there. But still a very good race from L. So, that was the first full GP completed. The first 2 races, like I said before, there was a DC after the second race. So, after 6 races, RC are only up 2. So, L did have... good first few races, but then RC bringing it back a little bit. The biggest lead was somewhere in the low double digits for L. So it wasn't a huge deficit that RC had to come back from, but just coming back from those first 2 races, it was good work from RC. 6 races left with a 2-point deficit. This is going to be very interesting to see. And we do see Moo Moo Meadows coming out from Paul, actually. We did see Paul and Ethan picking that track. Very dice rolly track. I'm not really sure if I would have picked it. Maybe RC are confident in this track, even though it is pretty dice rolly. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this race. We do see a lot of RC running out of the gate right away. I think only 1 of RC bagged and maybe 2 from L bagged. It's going to be an interesting exchange here between British and KA, but it looks like he actually passes the TC off to his teammate Ethan anyway, so Ethan's going to be falling back. Falling behind in Moo Moo Meadows is not the end of the world necessarily, because you can pull a dodge, but people might already be holding dodges anyway, so Ethan could be down and out depending. Oh, that was a really good Nana there coming out from British. Just swerved really far over to the left to back a Nana on Noah, but Noah had triple shrooms to back himself up anyway, so he's going to be able to get up to first. Looks to me like Nitro also comes up. Blue's going to be coming out right away from Paul, though, onto Noah. RC are some of the bottom spots here, but that could mean that they're going to pull some dodges and potentially hold them for a shock. Triple greens coming in from Paul there, trying to... Yeah, he does slow on there. Good work there from Paul. Connects on one of the L players. Doesn't quite get the backspam off on Yax, and he does get starred by KA. No shock coming in. A blue coming in from L, though, as a revenge item. Yax slips into first, and looks to me like British gets lag bump there from KA. I think KA might have shroomed up or drafted up somehow. Looks to me like, yeah, L occupying top 2 there in the very end at the dying moments. Blues typically don't matter if they're thrown in the first lap in this track, because you can easily catch up. But yeah, blue coming in from L when it mattered most, right onto Matt on the last 2 turns. Like I said, very dice rolly track. Kind of hard to commentate this track as well as Yoshi Falls, because it's very fast paced. Obviously Yoshi Falls is more running based, but looks to me like a 37-24 race, plus 13 for L there. So they are going to overtake the lead again, winning by 11 now after 7 races. So MH does come out. This was a pick from Noah. From what I know, Yax and K also really like running this track. They do have a select few tracks that they love to run. They're very selective with their tracks, but Moonview is another example of a track in which they can run effectively. But in this track, though, it is a little tricky. People can draft up and people can spam their items, and Paul spammed a golden to get up to the front, and I think maybe Ethan might have bumped one of the L players as he was coming up with the TC possibly, or shrooms or whatever. Yax and KA both already lost their top spots, because like I said, you can lose your top spot easily in the first 5 seconds, but if you can weather that storm, you can run this track this track is very runnable as soon as you weather the storm in the first few seconds. But RC got the better of L in that exchange. Looks to me like Nitro is occupying second. 2-3 coming out actually from L. Not anymore though. British does come up and isn't able to wheelie bump Noah though. We'll see what kind of back spams Paul can potentially throw back. Usually greens, if you're in first and a teammate is in third, you don't want to back a green, but the separation that okay, looks to me like British shrooms up anyway. I was gonna say the separation that British had from first, you can easily back a green and call it out and be able to avoid it in second. But RC getting the favorable items as well, like the shrooms and stuff, to get up to the front. And looks to me like L doesn't have a response yet. No blues either. It looks to me like maybe Matt is holding a blue here, or Ethan, either one of them. Is a backspin going to come off here from British? No, not quite, but it looks to me like they're still going to occupy top 2. I think RC are holding the shock in this instance. And shock comes in late, dodging Matt actually in 5th or 4th with a star. And in the back, I think Ethan dodging a bill as well. This is going to be very good for RC. Yeah, RC right away pulling the shrooms and stuff, spamming them to get to the front. Yax and K losing their top spots, hitting the cars and stuff. And RC were just able to run away from that. Like I said before, if you can weather the storm of the first few seconds and either keep your top spots if you're starting in top spots or get up to the top if you're starting in the bottom spots, the track is very runnable. We didn't see too many backspams coming from RC, but they were just still able to run it effectively. And yeah, top 2-4 from RC. Yeah, so now RC regained the lead. A lot of lead changes happening in this match. Very interesting. They are up by 4 now, so still a very, very close match. It's kind of like a basketball game. In basketball, sometimes in basketball games, lead changes can happen very often. Like, there can be up to 30 lead changes in one game. It looks to me like that might be the case here. We might see more lead changes. Both teams throwing punch for punch. It's a very interesting match to see so far. TF, though, coming out from RC. This is very good for them. They are occupying top 2-4. I did mention earlier in the cast that starting off in 1-4 sometimes isn't enough, but starting off in top 2-4, first can go tight, second can get the tight box, and fourth can draft up. But it actually looks to me like Yax drafts up instead, so maybe Yax could do something here if he pulls potentially a Fib or a Green. He could, if he overtakes first. It's going to be an interesting exchange between him and Paul, an exchange in which Yax looks to me like he did win out in the end. Still first for British, though. Looks to me like Paul gets redded after he tries to snipe Yax. British can run this track decently from my experience with playing with him, though. So, yeah, still 2-3 coming out from L. So let's see how British can handle this. We do see Paul with a golden. He could, well, he already used it, actually, my bad. Only a single shroom, but he could potentially chain this for a star unless maybe L are already holding dodges here. Baggers are still jockeying for position, still trying to jockey for the shock here. Top 3 coming out from RC. I'm not sure why British backed that, considering that RC were top 3. So this could look good for RC. If Joss can get the shock here, it's going to be a lock. Even if a blue or 2 comes out from RC, I still think they're going to get some good spots, especially with Paul potentially dodging up to the front here. We do see Noah with a TC. He's going to be able to, yeah, he's going to fall behind, but the star comes in. No shock. That is a sign. Yeah, no baggers have the shock here because one bagger just got starred in the minimap. L needs a shock right now if they're going to want a chance to even get anything out of this. I don't think they have any dodges, though, so they can't really shock into boxes anymore. That area has already passed. Looks to me like K actually had a bill, though, so he bills up to the front. Late shock coming in, dodging Paul. Yeah, Joss just pulled the shock there. Yeah, it's a bit iffy bagging in this track because it's a lot of jockeying for the spots. Sometimes you wait for the other bagger to pull a box so that you can pull one right after. And if you pull a bill, you have to drive all the way back, and it's just really iffy. But 2, 3, 4, 5 coming out from RC. I do think was deserved, though. RC did run that track very effectively from what I saw. And it looks to me like it's a 36-25 race plus 11. So that's going to bring the deficit down to 15, or up to 15, I should say, for L. So, yeah, L not able to respond. Usually it's been back and forth, but RC getting 2 good races in a row here. Let's see if they can keep the momentum up. 3 races left, so a 15-point deficit is not horrible here for L. Still have 3 races to pull it back. Anything can happen in Mario Kart Wii. So Coconut Mall does come out from L here. This can work in their favor. Starting off in 2-3 is iffy if you're RC. Second place usually has to go a little bit, has to swerve a little bit to get a box. If they keep like a straight diagonal line from the right to the right side, first is going to overtake that box. It looks to me, let's see who bags for the bill here. Yeah, it looks to me like Paul might pull it here. He does not. Could be a sign that KA might have pulled it in 9th. We'll see what KA uses in the future. RC occupying 2-3-4 after Yax gets hit out of 2nd there. Now bomb comes out as well onto Yax, and I believe Noah as well. So RC starting to break away in 2-3-4 here. 6th as well for British with a star. Paul opting to back all of his greens. Looks to me like British actually loses this star from hitting the car there, though. Is Paul gonna... Oh, he's gonna schlag. Forcing the bill out of KA, though. KA pulling another bill in back-to-back races, so... Oh, when a shot comes in here, getting Paul out of his Mega and dodging Noah in a star. I believe KA also probably dodged last frame in the bill there. So this is going to be looking very good for L. It was a good idea to shock there. They weren't all bottom spots, but the spots were relatively mixed. But since KA was forced to use that bill from the stop troll attempt from Paul, Noah decided to use his star as well, and I believe he called it as soon as he saw Paul out of his Mega there. Blue comes out from Paul. I'm not sure if that's going to affect L that much. I know they're probably at least top 2 from the 2 people dodging. Yeah, L are top 3 actually. So what looked to me like a good start for RC turns into a very good lap 2 for L. Star comes in from Yax. No shock though. Neither bagger had the shock. One of the baggers spun out from a star. But if it's shockless, it's definitely going to favor L. Yax will probably get last in the end. I don't think it's a good idea, though, to slow down to try to get Yax again. Because you guys are bottom spots. Continuing to try to get that frontal presence, even if it's just 1 or 2 spots being scraped, still is kind of important. Yeah, I would have liked to see Paul keep driving there, but Yax does get bombed in the end. Still a very good race from L. It looks to me like, I think British... I was looking at Paul's point of view for about 10 to 15 seconds there. British might have secured second, I believe, but still 1-3-4 coming out from L from the looks of it. Yeah, it is a 1-3-4 for L, so a little unfortunate there for RC to start off with a 2-3-4 break and then have K pull that bill. I mean, props to KA. He did bag for the bill as well with Paul. So yeah, like I said before, KA might have pulled it in 9th, and I think that was the case. He did pull the bill in the first set in 9th, and Paul ended up chaining stars. That was only a +9 though. I thought it might have been a little better coming in from L. So L are now down by 6 after 10 races. 2 races to go with a 6-point deficit. It's going to come down to the wire here for both teams. And like I said before, L 0-3 against RC, 0-2 in the regular season, and they lost match 1. So L with a 6-point deficit here, and just that thought of going 0-4 against RC, that has to push them. That has to be in the back of their mind. I don't think they're going to want to lose a 4th time in a row to RC. So 1-5-6-8 for L. So if you're starting off in 2-3-4, it's a bit iffy. You could pick RBC. You can make a case for RBC for both teams, because 5-6 can draft up for L, but 4th is the biggest draft spot. 4th can draft first and just get up to the front and potentially run it if they don't get sniped. Yeah, if 4th can draft first and get a tight box and have protection, it's going to be very good for RC. Does come out with RBC. We'll just see what happens in the first few seconds of the race here. If you're KA, just swerve here. And that's exactly what he does. He does bump British there after swerving. And he is able to keep his first. Let's see what item he pulls. Maybe a fib. He could ninja fib it, but Yax is in second anyway. Paul incidentally gets bumped. Bottom 3 right away for RC. If you're L here, this is looking good. While it's not a lock, since L are top spots right now, it's not necessarily a lock, but they could utilize double back spams because there are blind corners, and back spams here are just so overpowered. If you can back one tight and back one wide, like a nana tight and a back green wide, it's very overpowered. We did see K lose his first earlier, so he is occupying 6th. Interesting exchange between him and Paul there. Paul barely able to avoid getting bumped off there. We do see him holding a star as well. In terms of the bagging battle, it's very close. Both baggers are still going backward. Noah opting not to schlag with these greens. He is backing them. It could mean that RC are occupying top spots along with L. Looks to me like the spots are very mixed. Paul forced to use that star because of the bomb. This could be good for L then, because the L could... Oh, and good backspam there for Noah. It was actually wide. Typically, players go wide to avoid a tight backspam, but it was very cheeky from Noah to back that wide. But as I was saying before, L could probably pull dodges, but I think they might already be holding some dodges. I think KA has something right now. We do see a 1-4 from RC. Let's see what kind of back spams Ethan can get off here. Triple shrooms from British. He's a little too far from Paul to draft him, though. A bomb comes out from Nitro, doesn't connect onto Ethan. Ethan was a little too far away there. It looks to me like British got bumped off. Paul gets redded right away. This is looking very good for L. LR234 with Ethan in first. Not sure who has the shock here. If you're RC, though, I would probably just chain a grass here. Even though it is predictable, just get a Paul on, dodge into Paul. But yeah, he is forced to use his Mega, and no shock comes out here. This could be very good for L. Matt uses a Mega right away to delay a potential shock from L. A bomb comes out from Nitro. Looks to me like a late shock comes in and dodges Matt, actually. Dodging Noah as well. I think that was still an L shock. It's going to be a close ending here. Yak's occupying second. I think maybe Ethan still was able to get first. Yeah, Matt is, I think Matt finished in fourth or so. I think it might have been a 2-3 coming out from L there. Yeah, Matt able to sneak into fourth after dodging up there. Still a +1 race for L. With 1 race to go, L are down by 5. So, very, very close match throughout. A lot of lead changes. I think there have been 3 or 5. I'm not sure. Either 3 or 5, but it's been very close throughout. I think the biggest lead might have been 11 or so. So RC up by 5. If you're RC, though, starting off in 1-4-6, I guess just go with what you're comfortable with, because TF is already gone. TF is a good 1-4 track. RBC is another good 1-4 track. Just go with what you're comfortable with. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Last race of Division 3 Finals in Match 2. It all comes down to this. And DDR does come out for the last track, and I do think RC picking DDR in this scenario, starting off in 1-4, I do think it speaks volumes about how much they trust each other. Because obviously Ethan's starting off in first, so he'll be able to run. Starting off in fourth is okay, but it can be detrimental at the same time, because you can get bumped by the people in second and third trying to go tight for the sandhop as well. But just trusting Ethan to run this track, not that you can't catch up in this track, you easily can, taking the Ultra and whatnot. We do see Paul getting redded from KA, but Paul has a shroom to back him up. Another 2, not able to take the Ultra later on, but British will be able to. He has the triple shrooms. Looks to me like Ethan is still locking down first. So like I said, Ethan is confident in running this track, and looks to me like he is running this effectively so far. Paul opting to use one of his shrooms here instead of saving his 2 shrooms for the cut on the lake on the bridge area. Looks to me like British is going to come up with the golden here with the Ultra, so very good from RC here. Top 2 in DDR, which is a very run-heavy track besides taking the Ultra, obviously. And Paul holding this golden. Best case scenario for L here is either triple shrooms, which doesn't make you catch up as much as a golden, or they're holding dodges and potentially one of the potentially Maxi has it. One of the baggers just got starred here, so nobody has shock at this point. Paul gets bombed though, so not good for RC. Yeah, if Paul had Paul golden up there, it would have been almost a lock for RC, because they would have been top 3 starting to break away. But now it's just top 2 for RC. None of L take the Ultra though, so this could be good for RC. RC are starting to break away. L are in drastic measures here. They're gonna have to do something. They need a shock here if they want to catch up, or a blue and potentially a snipe on British or something like that. But Paul's holding the blue here, so looks to me like RC are gonna lock this down unless a miracle happens. And I think Joss might have the shock anyway. So looks to me like, yep, that is it. Ethan will secure first. Yak's coming up in a bill, but that is not enough. British securing second. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Regicide are your champions of Division 3. Just overall, Regicide throughout the season have been pretty impressive. Aside from a couple of matches that they played against Insane and Beyblade, in which they just failed to show up, The rest of the matches that they played against List of Croatian Films and against Apocalypse, two of the other top 3 teams in the division, they have shown out. They have played very well. All props to RC there. They played very well throughout the season, despite those 2 matches that I mentioned before. Yeah, and if you're L, this is just really devastating, because I don't think that particular group has won a banner. I could be mistaken though, because I know this particular group has played with TR in the past. TR hasn't won any banners, for Tribulation Refuge. And MV, I do think MV has a banner though, but that was, I think, MV's second team with Emperor, and I'm not sure who else was in MV, but it might have been Emperor and Malone and a couple other players, while Yax and K, I think, were playing for MV1. So that, along with the fact that you already went 0-2 against RC and then lost the first match, then losing this one, that's very heartbreaking for L, but ecstatic for RC. I mean, that happens in any competition. In Mario Kart, it doesn't have to be Mario Kart Wii, but it can happen in any competition, any sport. There's always going to be a winner. There's always going to be a loser. It's always going to be glory on one end and despair on the other end. RC are going to be living it up here. I know Joss has already won a couple banners with Moonblast, and Paul has won one with Moonblast already. I think all the banners that Joss has won, Paul has won as well. Actually, except for Season 8 of WL Division, or Season 9 of WL Division 5. Moonblast won that one, but Paul wasn't in the team at the time. It was the likes of Joss, Quinton, Reno, and a couple other people in MO that are currently not in right now. I know Paul joined MO, I think, a little later, like Season 10, Season 11 of WL. But this might be Paul's second banner, I think, and Joss's third, if I'm not mistaken. This could be Ethan's, I believe, first. I'm not sure if it's first or second. I don't know if he's won one with EXO, but banners aside, RC winning the banner here, very, very good for them. They're going to be ecstatic about that. I do think they played very well against L in this particular match, as well as against Apocalypse in the semifinal. Overall, they just played very well in the playoffs. They were the most dominant team, and arguably the most dominant team in the regular season, too, dropping matches against RC, and I think dropped a match against AP too, while RC pretty much beat AP on all occasions. 3-0 against AP, 4-0 against L. Yeah, credit to both teams. They both put up a fight. List of Croatian Films, if you're L, just pick your head up. I know they're a very tight-knit group. They're very close in terms of friendship and chemistry, so just keep your head up, and I do think L will probably be back in WL. From what I know, they are going to be playing WL and MKPS, so just use this as a learning experience for WL and MKPS, and just keep your head up. And if you're RC, I don't think RC are going to be playing another season. For the most part, I think the likes of the likes of Joss and Paul are going to be playing with Moonblast, as well as myself. I'll be playing with them, and Ethan will be going to EXO. RC is a sub-clan anyway. They're not really a main league clan, but they're all tight-knit anyway. I mean, they've been playing together for a bit. So, congratulations to RC for the banner. I hope you guys enjoyed the dual POV, and on behalf of MK Boards, I'm Jaggy. See you guys next time.